Hello, and you're listening to the AI Moment with me, Jonathan Wagstaff.
And me, Danny Dunhod. So today we're going to dive into our first thoughts, our initial thoughts on the latest model releases. In recent times, there's been release from Claude, that's Anthropic, that's 4.1, and ChatGPT-5 has also been released. Jonathan, do you want to give us a little rundown of your first thoughts and give people an idea of what's good, what's bad, and potentially some ugly in it?
Yeah, we're recording this on August 14th, so it's been out for around about a week. So some initial thoughts really. I've not been able to play with it as much as I wanted to. However, I think some of the first things we'll see with ChatGPT, first of all, they've simplified it an awful lot. So one of the things that we met earlier in the summer was confusion with people. You had within ChatGPT, you had things like 4.0, which was the chatbot. You had things like 0.3 for the deep or deeper thinking. And then you got the deep research model. So there's a number of different options. We did see some confusion around what was best for what task. They've just rolled all that up into one ChatGPT-5, and then there's the different levels of pro and premium, et cetera, et cetera. But it's all one ChatGPT-5. There was a howl of anguish from the market, and what they've done now is they've also built back in your ability to do what's called legacy model selection. So you can roll back to ChatGPT 4 or 0.3 if you want to. Now they put that back in. In the first few days, it wasn't. It was just straight 5. Couple of things to say. I think it's led to more people. Apparently, the stats are already out. It's led to more people using some of the deep thinking options because they're automatically in there now, so you don't have to select them. And they've rolled out this kind of, or they're rolling out this auto-selector, which means that you don't even have to think about which version you'd want to use. It looks at the prompt and it works out for itself. Is this a straight question I could answer? Is this something I need to go and do some thinking about? So it will select for you which elements it uses to answer the question. Therefore, because that's all built in, more people are using some of the deep thinking options. So it's going to be interesting to see what that, if that provokes more exploration by people as they see some of the capabilities of the platform. That might be interesting. Initial thoughts, it looks quicker. I think it's supposed to be quicker. It does look quicker. But I would say my overall thought is, I don't know whether this is Sam and the guy's fault at OpenAI or whose fault, but I think there was an expectation that this was going to be a huge step change. This was going to be an absolute game changing in the same way maybe that 4.0 was when that came out a year and a half ago. And it doesn't feel like that. It feels like some things have moved forward, but it doesn't feel like the game changing step change that maybe we all expected it might be. So it's an advance. It looks interesting. We'll talk about this more as we play with it more, but they would be my initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think that's a really great sum of what I've experienced as well. The token usage has got cheaper and Claude has also followed suit. So it has technically got cheaper to do more complicated work within GPT-5 and Claude. A couple of like feedback from the market has been that it's addressed the being too nice to you and the sycophancy things that people were saying. So it used to be very agreeable to you and things that you said. So that's something that people have really picked up. I'd also say that they've, in general, what the AI companies have seemed to have done is enabled users, everyday people like us, is to, as you said, Jonathan, is to find out by prompting which is the best model. So we don't have to do the selection headache, the cognitive load behind it. And something I've also seen across a lot of different podcasts and interviews has been that different things have been released as well. So Amazon Alexa Plus has been released to a few, I think it's over 1,000 people, and it's had pretty poor reviews, which basically you can have some sort of conversation with it, and it's quite good at trying to help you along the line. But I think it's really important to call out when there's these big updates and tests. They're not guaranteed to be so much better. So the way that I compare it to other things is when software or apps are updated, they typically address some flaws or some bugs, but it's typically not huge leaps apart from when there's real issues. So we're probably going to see this moving forward. And I imagine it's a tactical decision versus a real deep strategic thought, because everyone's expecting these huge leaps. And what we're actually seeing at the moment is a few steps.
one of the things they're claiming as well at OpenAI is that the new version ChatGPT hallucinates a lot less, so you get less bullshit answers out of it than maybe would have done it. Now, I've not thrashed that or tested it anyway. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or you've seen it at all.
Yeah, I've seen it get slightly better. The one problem I'm seeing with using it a little bit, what I'm seeing from using it is actually that you'll have to be more and more precise in the context that you're providing to get the best possible answers. That's always been true, but I think because they have focused heavily on coding as opposed to writing or some of the other activities that you use it for prompting for, I do think it does need a lot more, still needs a lot more context than maybe it should do right now. But again, I'm not an AI researcher or massively technical, so I'm sure there'll be great updates over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and I'd also say as a more general point, going back to the previous version as well, as it gets more thorough with its answers, they can be wrong. I mean, this hallucination bit is important. I saw one earlier in the summer, which was a really lovely looking analysis of a website, but it's actually all pretty much made up. But it looks really convincing. So I think it behooves us to, therefore, as the human in the loop, to really make sure we are verifying what we're seeing and we're happy with what we're seeing as the model goes forward.
Yeah, and as we said on previous pods, you still have to invest the time to learn it and be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You still have to understand, is it truthful and being truthful? So still treat it like a great assistant who needs someone above them, like a co-worker who's fairly junior. And do you really trust the answer that it's providing? And if the 3 T's aren't there, then you know that you're going to have to invest some time and energy in its output just to make sure you're 100% and you could use it and you're willing to put your name to it.
Absolutely right.
So if we were to wrap up and give leaders like food for thought moving forward, what would we say?
Well, everyone will have their own thoughts about the new models as they come forward. I think we're still where we were in terms of, you occasionally get asked which one should I use, Claude or ChatGPT or Grok or any DeepSeek, any of them. I think they're all constantly in this arms race. So at any given point, the question which one is the best, well, it could be this one today, but it'll be the other one next week. And anyway, it depends what you're doing it for. So it's another one of those, go experiment with it, make your own decisions about it, play with it, be confident. There's no right or wrong answer about which one's the best for the individual.
The more that you tinker, the more that you use, then the more that you'll find the tool that you're most comfortable with. For me, it's still Claude, but 80% of my friends and peers all love ChatGPT. So keep tinkering.
All right.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Good to see you, my friend.
Until next time.
Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening today. If you've got any questions or any feedback, have a look in the show notes and we'll happily come back to you.